So yes, this is the first time I've actually done an emotion code session as a group working on a specific issue. So before we get into the actual emotion code and the release, etc., if anybody, I don't know if anybody wants to speak about how they feel about money or what has come up for them or where they are with money in relation to money.
Well, I think for me it's always two sides. It's dual. On the other hand, I have enough to live comfortable because of what Peter is making, and the other side of the medal is that I want to do it myself. And well, always if I need something, the money is there to do it. That's not an issue, whether it's the surgery on Bobby or whatever. The money is there, but it's always just that what I need. It's not abundant.
Yeah,
and sometimes it frustrates me. And well, when I think about the people in Maui, then I think, oh, I have a luxury life. So it's all also, and I'm not sure if it's my energy then that says, okay, nothing, it doesn't matter, you have enough. That I'm not allowing myself to do the next step. It's I'm not sure what it is, what is blocking me.
Do you have any, could you name any emotions around that?
Frustration, yes. I guess that's the big one, frustration.
Okay. Frustration of always just having just exactly how much you need and never more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also for me, wanting to do my part of it, and it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work. So I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah. Okay. It might come up if while we're talking and emotions do come up. Say, oh yeah, that's what it is. Just pop it in the chat, and I'm noting down everything anyway. Anybody else have anything to say about money?
I don't know if it's difficult because there's a lot of fear behind mine because we always only seem to have just enough. We're like always living on the breadline because we only get paid every 3 months, and it's like the last week I'm always worrying about whether they're going to pay us and how we're going to cope if they don't. But it's almost the flip side of that is when we've got money, it like slips through our fingers like sand, not because we waste it, but because we do things with it and do things for other people, and it's almost like we feel we're not worthy to keep it. We overshare it. We do. We overshare it. When we should be taking care of ourselves first, we actually overshare our abundance when we do get some abundance, which isn't very often. So I don't know whether it's a feeling that I don't deserve it or I'm not worthy, or if it's a fear of when I've got it, it's taken away. So we give it away instead of it being taken from us. Again, like Mary Lou, it's difficult to actually pin which emotion it is, or whether it's the fear of having it taken away or the fear of not having it. It's difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting already that the 2 points have come up, because I think Mary Lou's the thing, like, I know what's been coming up for me is like this thing of being a kept woman from other lives, of like, always being provided for and not doing it myself. And then Angela, what you were saying as well, it's almost like having money. It either creates, I can't have it because of all the negative connotations subconsciously created that. I've got to get rid of it so we don't touch it. And I know it's always there. That's a big thing. It's really funny because they're the two things that have really come up for me, not by any, not by any coincidence at all.
One of the things I used to do, which I've stopped doing now is I used to say I hated money because it caused so many problems, both on a personal level and on a global level. And I don't say, and I can understand I'm never going to have any if I have that attitude. So I stopped doing that a long time ago, but it's still, I think there's still that lingering. I'd far rather have a barter system, fair exchanges, no robbery. Money is just, it seems like people say it's the root of all evil, which it felt like it was. So maybe that's why I don't have any. But I am trying to change that mindset.
Yeah, because I think even if we're saying, we don't say it anymore, but obviously subconsciously it's there. And it still takes me back to things like all the lives we've been through and how money has been abused in, so many different societies, that money in itself is not bad. It's just the way it's been,
absolutely
portrayed as.
Yeah. Basically,
Lisa?
it's just an energy, isn't it? So
yeah, and it's what's been imprinted onto that energy as well.
Yeah.
Lisa or Rebecca?
I feel similar to Angela, that when I have money, it does slip because I like to donate or help people out. And so I feel like we work hard for what we get. So when people see like the life we lead, it's because like the vacation is because I work summer school to be able to pay for that vacation, but people don't see the hard work. They just see what we have and are can be jealous of it, but we try to be very generous with the extra, and we're not always saving for ourselves, but it does tend to just slip through, like Angela said. So we have enough, but we don't tend to focus on getting more and saving that money.
What just
Totally
came
recognize that.
Sorry, Marilu?
I totally recognize that. Yes.
Does that bring up any, if you didn't give away to charity and kept that money, would that bring up any feelings of guilt?
I think so. I feel like when money comes to me, especially if it's unexpected, like we went on strike for 10 days, like 2 years ago. We just got like a windfall of money from the payment of the back pay that we were owed. And so I feel like that was like, even though it was money that we worked for, it was like a windfall. And so I felt like when that money came in, that I needed to do good with that money because it was like a gift to me. So I wanted to gift it to others. So that's how I feel like we let go of a lot of money because we're trying to gift back the generosity that we received to other people.
There's Tracy just coming on. Somebody else is just coming on. Lisa, do you have any thoughts on money, good or bad? Be either way.
Yeah, my mother brought me up to believe that we could never afford anything because we were very poor when I was a child. And she was a single parent holding down a cleaning job with her husband. So everything always drilled into us. We can't afford things. We have to buy the cheapest of everything. And she would scour the supermarket shelves for the absolute cheapest thing. And when I grew up, I vowed I wouldn't go through the same thing. So when I was in my 20s and 30s, I had a really good income. I was a primary teacher in the UK and lived a life of, well, I didn't rich by any means, but wouldn't have to buy the cheapest of everything. So it's taken me a lot of years to believe that I do deserve to have nice things, and it doesn't have to be from a secondhand shop if I don't want it to be. But then over the past 6 years, I've had absolutely no income of my own. Everything's come through my husband, which I've found very difficult to cope with because I've always been self-sufficient. And if I want money, I have to really go to him and ask for it, which I don't like. So there's been a bit of resentment coming from me where money is concerned at the moment because it doesn't sit well with me. I like to be independent and earn my own money because of my upbringing, really. I don't want to go back to that. And my business that I've been running hasn't really taken off. So money has come very what's the word I'm looking for?
Sporadically?
yeah, and it's been dripping into me. So
Mm.
40 every 3 or 4 weeks, or 30 euros every 6 weeks, and it's not really, you know, coming in abundance. So I do have the things that I need. I have a roof over my head, I have food, but I don't have money for anything extra at the end of the month, and that's where I want to move on from. I want to have something that can enable me to travel and do some good in the world. And I also want to give to charities connected to my business, but I haven't been able to do that in the time that I've been trading. So yeah, I've got frustration
as well.
Yeah.
That's so interesting, Lisa, because that just sounds like me. Totally exactly the same. Cheapest of the cheap, everything was scrimp and save when we were young. I'll just quickly go over my story of it as well. And I was brought up that you can't have health, wealth, and happiness. And all the time my parents were always comparing, look, that they're wealthy, but they're not happy. They're happy, but they haven't got any money. So all the time it's like always a 2 out of 3, out of 3. So you had to choose. And I used to obviously work for myself, have my own job, have my own income. Every time money came in, like after my divorce or a student grant, the money would just dwindle away very, very quickly. And it was almost like, dealing with a hot potato, get rid of it quick. And exactly the same, Lisa. And Mary Lou, this thing about being, as I said, like being this kept woman of not earning your own money or earning your own keep. Always have to depend on somebody else, which is the same thing. I'm totally independent. And, it's a pleasure to earn your own money. And the same, it comes in very sporadically. And it's very hard to actually count on, a certain salary every month, because that just doesn't happen. So it's interesting because every time I do these, whatever it is, there's always a similar theme coming through. Tracy, really nice to have you here.
Hey, love.
Yeah, good to hear. I can't see you.
You can't see me. How come? I just sprung. Oh, hold on. I'll show you my mug.
Yay!
Can you see? There I am. I just happened to stumble on it, and I thought this is a great topic, so I'll join.
Brilliant.
And yeah.
Hi, Lisa. I'll back to you as well.
I had a friend share with me about money in a feng shui sense, to put 6 $10 bills in the money corners of your house. So that's what I've done, and I have them in a vase and purple tissue paper and, abundance. And I'm just trusting in that. I'm just leaving them there. And even when I feel like I need $10, I don't touch them.
I was just going to say, I know I'd be so tempted thinking, okay, even to put, that money in, it could be like, sometimes it could be all the income I've got.
Mm-hmm. I know. But money's been, like, I grew up with that whole money doesn't grow on trees, right? And I caught myself yesterday. My daughter went shopping and bought herself 2 new coats, and her and her husband both have good jobs and stuff. And I caught myself saying to her, "Do you need another coat?" And she's like, "Judge much?" So cheeky, the generation of cheekiness. But it, thinking about it in this conversation, it was definitely related to the whole money mindset, where my comment was coming from.
Completely.
Mm-hmm. And I would like to buy a car. I don't have a car, and I don't have savings. I think I might have a tiny RSP somewhere, which used to be much bigger, but I had to live on it for a while. And I wasn't taught growing up, and I wish they would teach kids this in school. And I'm grateful that my daughter's husband was taught how to be fiscally responsible and invest, and how to do all the things with money. And I wasn't taught all of that when I was younger. I was very, beans, pork and beans were on the table a lot. And so I've had different experiences of money growing up where I've saved everything. And then other experiences where I have nothing because I've just spent it all. And right now I have debt and I'm borrowing from Peter to pay Paul or Mary, whatever. So I'm borrowing from my overdraft to pay off my line of credit with I have an attitude around it. If I can see a window to manage without, and I know I'm going further into debt by taking the money out of the overdraft to put on the line of credit, but if I can see a window of can I manage without X dollars while I'm bringing this one down, knowing that my paycheck's going to go back into that one. It may not completely top it up. I'm going to keep doing it because I'm going to get rid of my line of credit. Like it's going to go, So even though it's kind of like a, at the, in a few months, it'll be like, oh, it'll be gone. And then, my overdraft I live within my overdraft, which is like a $2,000 window. I'm grateful that I have it. But at some point in time, I'm going to not have it because I'm going to not need it, But I would really like to have a savings and, get a car, nothing fancy. It doesn't have to be fancy. But then there's that mindset again, right?
Always have just enough, just what we need. And
right. And sorry, I didn't catch the lady's name that was just speaking. But how she was saying that she has enough, she's thankful she has a roof over her head and food in the fridge and stuff. And I'm thankful for that too. But in hearing who was speaking?
Lisa?
Okay. Okay. So Lisa, when I heard you saying that, I was thinking, I have those things and I make that comment too, but I feel like we're holding ourselves in that. I feel like the last few years have brought us with all the homelessness and everything that's been happening around the world and all the different changes that we've kind of got ourselves into that mindset of, well, at least I have a roof over my head and food in the fridge but you know what? We deserve more.
Yeah, it's really this mindset of, we can, it's just gone out of my head now. We can cope like with the minimum. I don't need anything more, it'll do. I can make do all the time is making do. Just quickly go on to Loser. How are you? Yeah. Good to see you.
Hi there, Nikki. I'm fine, thank you.
Do you have any? Go on.
I misunderstood the schedule, so I was waiting for 7 p.m.
That's all right, because Tracy's just come in just before, and we were just talking about if we're having emotions around money or how money is to us. So I wondered about you, if you have any thoughts about money.
Well, all my life, I was growing up with a mother that taught me that I should have savings and a lot of savings. And I did that until my 40s, I think. But then I have a really, really high motivation for traveling. And it gets me more and more wanting to travel. With the years, I'll be aging with an old lady, like an old lady with a backpack on me and traveling the world. So, and if, despite I've been raised that way, I was from my late 30s or early 40. I understood money as an instrument to allow yourself to be happy. And what does make me happy is the most is my cat and to travel. And for the last 3 years in COVID in 2021, I was sick for about 2 years, and that changed everything. Now I just go to work to earn money to support myself, of course, to pay the bills and to support myself and my cats, and mostly to travel. It's what I like the most to do in life. So I'm gonna travel the most that I can. I don't have kids. I never married, so I don't have that idea of saving money for someone else, for my kids, or I don't own a house. I already bought a house on my late 20s, but I don't miss owning minimalist now than I was on my 20s. I'm on the extreme minimalist way of life. I'm an extreme minimalist now. So I don't miss nothing of stuff. I don't miss owning a TV or
Yeah, you've muted Lisa. Lisa, I think you've just muted yourself. Well, while she's coming back, I'll just quickly say, because what's coming up as well, what Trace was saying and what's been coming up with everybody else, I know Angela, Mary Lou and Rebecca know a bit about this already, is that I got myself into debt, and it started not long after my divorce, about 2010, 2011, and I got into over £10,000 in debt, euros. And it taught me a lot. I think it was probably one of the most powerful periods of my life, because I think Tracy, and I know Angela has probably felt this as well, is that being in those situations, how fearful it can be. It just brings up so much worry, so much anxiety, so much fear. And I know for me, I was worried about how do I pay for the rent for my house? I've got 2 children to look after, a cat. Sometimes who gets the €5 for food? Is it my daughters? Is it me? Or is it my cats? And it was awful. Till one moment, I sat down and I thought, okay, if I lose everything, if I lose my house of not having any money, what can I do? And I had to really get in put myself head on into that fear. And so I realized that if I lost my house, my daughters would go and stay with their father. And I got to the point where I said I would actually be really happy homeless. I had to get to that point that I would be happy sleeping outside. And it was at that moment that I realized, wow, what have I got to worry about? There's a solution for it all. I'm going to be absolutely fine. And that really helped me to overcome this, oh my God, what if I can't pay the bills? What if I can't think it's fine. There's going to be a solution. I'm going to get out of this. And then it continued along. And I just remember the next time I just stopped the car, I was so fed up, and I just shouted at the universe, I've had enough, help me. And they basically showed me handlebars of a bicycle. And it was basically saying to me, let go of the handlebars. You're trying to control the situation, trying to control your future. That we're actually doing this for you. Just let go. We'll steer for you, and you just pedal. You just do what you enjoy doing, and allow us to go with you. And it was at that moment I thought, oh my goodness, that's it. I'm not alone, and I don't have to fear this, because I know there's something greater that's happening for me. And it was at that moment when everything else started to change. The fact that I'd gone through the fear, I'd let go of the fear. I realized I could choose how I felt about money. I could either worry or not worry. It's a choice. So I chose not to worry and chose to let go. And it was that really got everything going. And I lost my debt. I got out of debt, and I've been out of debt ever since. But it taught me so much about those times. And saying that, there's obviously still things that come up that you've all spoken about right now, about wanting to be independent and owning my own money, of not being on the yo-yo, of having money then no money, and just being on the absolute breadline the whole time, like Angela, you were saying, that's always just enough. It's never more than everything that we need. And half of me thinks that what we're going through in this world, this transformation with, you know, everything is collapsing. The way we live is collapsing. I think the monetary system will collapse. And through that, you know, it's teaching us how to live in other ways. I think it's really helping to get to the rawness of it, and also coping mechanisms. And I do find that my creativity increases when I don't have any money.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you have to get creative. You have to think of other ways. It becomes a driving force. And that is something I really want to let go of, because, you know, to be creative, I don't want to be all the time in debt. You know, all the time having no money. That creativity should be fueled even when, you know, that there's complete abundance there. So that's come up. Go on.
Can I add another little bit that's just occurred to me as as everybody's been talking, is the fact that growing up, I was always told, because I used to be really good at saving, and I was, you know, I used to save all of my pocket money as a child, and when we went on holiday as a family, which wasn't very often, I'd be the one that would have £100 in my pocket, and my brothers and sisters would have nothing, because I'd saved every single penny or worked for some. And I was always told to not have ideas above my station.
Wow.
That I think is, I've just realised is a big one for me. Am I still thinking that I'm not worthy, that I shouldn't have money because it means I've got ideas above my station? Delusions of grandeur.
So not worthy of having money?
I don't know. I think so. Or is it that being afraid to be seen again? Do you know what I mean? Because if I've got money, then I'll be out there. You know, not having ideas above your station. Don't put your head above the parapet.
Yes. Yeah, that's been a big one. I think that goes through, you know, as seen before, it goes through over many lifetimes. That does. Being a kept woman.
Okay, I'm open for that. I have not experienced it. I am all down with it if it ever comes my way. Bring it on. Keep me.
And not earning my way as well, because I mean, Peter and I were talking about it the other day, is because our income, and I call it our income, has come about. We have a rental property in the UK, but it used to be Peter's. And when we got married, he signed half of that over to me. So half of the income is now mine and half of it is Peter's, where it used to be all of Peter's. And so I still feel like it's not mine because I'm not earning it. I just happen to have fallen into it by default because I happened to marry him. Do you know what I mean? And I still feel like it's his money. It's not mine. I haven't earned it.
And when it was all with Peter, did the people still, were there still these issues about the people not paying their rent? Or did that change?
No, that changed. That came with COVID.
Right.
Yeah, that came with COVID. Before that, it wasn't an issue. They used to be late occasionally, but the big problem started with COVID.
Right.
They got government grants to pay their rent, but they didn't pay their rent. They
So
just kept
many
the money.
that and didn't pay their rent. So many people did that. Oh my goodness.
I can understand that people didn't have the money to pay the rent, but when they're given a government grant to pay it and then don't do so,
yeah,
not realizing that actually it's our only income.
Does anybody else have any? I've written in the chat, frustration, resentment, not worthy, afraid to be seen, being a kept woman. Are there any other emotions that come up, negative emotions that come up around money that you want? You can pop in the chat box if anything comes up. I'll give you a few moments just to have a think and feel into any emotions.
Envy.
Yes.
Envy. I have not been a traveler. The biggest trip I ever made was in like 2006. I went to Italy for a week. But I hear like people around me going to Mexico, going to Disneyland, and I just don't have the money. But in saying that I just don't have the money, it's also comes back to not having a savings, but it's also a mindset of like, well, I can't afford to go there. Like holding myself that place instead of versus creating that space of being able to do it, if that makes any sense. As an example, like traveling, yeah.
And Lisa's just popped in. Lisa, I can see your feet now. That's it. You've got the camera working. We can see your radiator. So anxiety, what if the bill comes, I don't have the money to cover it? This was something that used to come up a lot with me, and I realized that the more I let go of the worry and anxiety, the more that money turned up.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said to me that money is like breathing, that you're always breathing in and out, you're never holding a breath in case there's never going to be any more money. And that fear of like, oh my god, what if there's no more money to come in, it almost like holds on to it. And the more I realized that I could just breathe, and knowing that, I began to feel that there's a real ebb and flow, just like the sea. Lisa, we can see you. You've done it finally. That money is this real ebb and flow of like the waves that it goes, but it always comes back. And the minute I let go of that anxiety of, will that wave come back, it did. It started to flow. And now I know that it's okay if a bill comes in, I can't pay it, I know the money's going to come in, and it does, only just enough, but it does. So what we'll do, because that's given us some good emotions to work on. So for those of you who don't know, who've never worked with me before, that's probably Loser and Lisa. In a group situation like this, what I should be doing is we'll be taking an emotion, and I'll be getting you in a moment to close your eyes and feeling into that emotion, feeling into your body, seeing if it brings up any images, any feelings. And then we're going to I'll show you how to release it. And when we're doing this, I also want to set the intention for us all to also release these emotions from the collective as well, because I think so many other people have got the money issues going on, and if we can also release energetically from the collective. And incidentally, for those who are watching the replay, you can actually do this with us. It's not because it's a replay that it's not going to work, it does. So you can do it along with us afterwards. So we'll start with the frustration, because I think that holds on a lot of like stagnant energy with it. So I just want you to close your eyes, and you can put your hands on your hearts if you want, because that helps you to drop into your heart. And I just want you to imagine the emotion of frustration coming into your body, and that frustration filling the whole of your body. And just allow that frustration to fill you. And as it does that, I'm just going to allow you a few minutes to see if any images, any memories come up, or where that emotion might be feeling in your body and how it feels. Whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes and to share if anything comes up, came up. Did anybody?
I did feel a blockage in my throat and in my stomach, and I also felt angry, rage about it. So the frustration turned into too angry.
Which is good, because I think angry is a more active emotion than frustration is. It's taken action, so there's probably already transformation going on there.
Yeah, I had to how do you say it in English? When you let go,
Yawn? No?
yeah, yes, too tight.
Yes, energetic.
I was thinking something is moving.
Yeah. Anybody else? You're still muted. We've got the camera, but we can't hear you. Okay. Anybody else have anything that came up?
Perhaps you can unmute, Lisa.
I can't. No, it says ask to unmute, but I don't think
okay.
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can only ask to unmute her.
Oh.
Did anybody else have any feelings of frustration or? No?
I could remember a certain time where I was dating this guy in college, and he was a little bit older than me and had more money. And he made me feel like, because I was a college student with not much money, like that I wasn't as worthy. So like he said that his BMW, he could buy like 5 of my cars for the price of his BMW. And then it always, after that, it made me feel like I had to have an appearance that I had more things to make myself outwardly feel worthy. So it brought up that specific memory for me, is when I was happy when I didn't have that much money when I was going to school, but then I felt bad. I was made to feel bad that that I didn't have as much. And he probably was doing that as a way to make himself look better with the monetary things. But now I feel like I've kind of taken that on, where I have to have that appearance where we have plentiful instead of just enjoying what we have. The outward appearance thing stuck with me after that.
It's so funny because that just brought up a memory of going out with somebody who was out of my league monetary wise. All his friends were, a bit more in the money. And I remember going around to their house, there's like a few of them, and we're all talking. And I can't remember what it was, but somebody had bought something, I don't know, a piece of furniture. And I didn't know the meaning of the word, but I said, oh, that's really naff. And I thought naff meant really good. It's when naff actually came into the English language. And they all looked at me like, what? And it's only after when I realised what naff meant, that, oh my God. And it just made me feel even more out of my depth. Would have been with these people just in a totally different class and whatever. So Lisa, you're still muted. Still muted. No. So anybody else have anything? I know for me, I saw I just felt like, banging my head against a brick wall of like the frustration of why can't I move forward from this? Why can't I move out of it? And then seeing myself almost like in a metal safe. And then it turned into like a glass cube of being able to see everything out there, but just being in this cube, just not being able to get out. And so as well, Meryl, it began to start to turn to anger. It got much more of an more of an active frustration. So what a pity that Lisa. You can say it really good. Lisa.
Yeah.
So we can't see you, but we can hear you.
This blooming phone. Why did I get this phone?
You've done it.
I thought I was upgrading to something. It's well complicated. Right. Well, my body gave me a pain in my heart when I imagined the frustration, and I was also feeling it in the pit of my stomach. And I was reminded of a memory where I was sitting with my mum and my brother when we were little around the table. And my mum told us we had one potato to share between the three of us. And so I think a lot of this frustration comes from knowing that she only had enough money to feed one of us, really, and there were three mouths to feed. So really, from a very young age, the fear of not having enough money has always really been there. So yeah, that needs to be said.
So to release the frustration, what we will do, we actually use our hands. There's a governing meridian that goes from the front of the head all the way down the back of the head and down the back. And as we have electromagnetic energy in our hands, it's like as a magnet. And if you imagine running a credit card over a magnet, it completely eliminates everything that's on that card. The same thing that will be using the hand just to run a few times over that governing meridian. And releasing that actually releases the frustration, so the emotion. But it doesn't just release it, it almost like pops it. If you imagine like a bubble and you get a needle on a bubble, and it just completely eliminates it totally. So it's not being released into the ether, it's actually being cancelled out. And the emotions that we release together tonight do not come back. Once they're gone, they're gone. Now, in a normal one-to-one session, we'll also be looking at the ages that this was happened, etc. But on this one, we're just going to be releasing whatever comes up. And, you know, maybe like Lisa, you've had that memory, also maybe attaching that frustration to the memory. So you're releasing that from that moment. So we can do it all together. So you're just going to run the hands from the front to the back and just I'm releasing the emotion of frustration. And then once you've done that, just allow that emotion just to dissipate away and be cancelled. Everybody okay? We've lost Tracy.
Very cold. Gone very cold.
Yeah. It's gone. You didn't have that little coat of frustration around you. So next one, resentment. What does resentment mean to you all with money? Is it resenting other people or resenting yourself? Which is probably actually the same.
I'd say for me, it's been very, very difficult recently because a lot of my friends have had big celebrations. I'm 48, so there's been a lot of 50th birthdays coming up, and they've been going off to nights out in Bordeaux. They've been going abroad to Ibiza for weekends away to celebrate, and I'm always the one that's having to say, no, I can't go. And that's very frustrating. Yeah, and I end up feeling a bit resentful in the end because I'm always the one stuck at home and I can't go. So for me, that's the big thing. You know, I want my own independence for that reason, to really enjoy life to the max. I mean, very big believer in, you know, every day is precious and we should make the most of every day. And I don't want to be at home. I've looked after my children for the past 20 odd years, and it's my time now to go out and do things. So I'm making space for more money to come in. I'm ready for more money. But it's very frustrating and very, you know, I can be a bit resentful when I see them all posting pictures on Facebook in Ibiza and in Bordeaux and all getting together and having fun. And I'm not there because I don't have the funds for it. So yeah, That's my situation.
That touches me. I've actually got tears coming up. So that's going in deep for me somewhere.
It makes me feel quite lonely as well, because I feel like I can't connect with them anymore, because we will go for a drink locally and they're all talking about their experiences and what they did and the fun that they had, and that makes me feel quite lonely. I feel very left out, and it's down to money, and money shouldn't be a barrier to having a fulfilled at all, but at the moment it is, sadly.
Completely. Yeah, I completely get you on that. The image of like the Titanic came up, you know, where you've got the two levels of can't be around people with that resentment. So, you know what I said about it's kind of the same thing, that when we resent other people, it's also, you know, really about resenting ourselves, is what we're not seeing within ourselves. And I know for me it's resenting myself that I'm still in this fucking situation, that I've not moved on. And even if yes, I have moved on. I've moved on emotionally in the fact on how I deal with it, but the money in itself hasn't changed. So that is resenting myself for not getting out of that little glass box.
Are you feeling that in your solar plexus, Nikki? Because when you're talking, I'm feeling that in my solar plexus with you.
I am now.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, resentment's a big one for me too. Partly because we've pretty much become sort of almost hermits now. We don't go out anymore because our friends and neighbours have actually stopped asking us, because we can't. They go out for meals and concerts and this, that and the other. They're always going out, and we always have to say no because we have enough to live on, but we don't have anything for extras. So they've stopped asking us, and you do get lonely and you do withdraw into yourself, and that's what I resent. I don't resent them, but I resent not being able to participate. That, you know, and the fact that they feel they don't want to embarrass us anymore by us having to say no, we can't go, so they've just stopped asking us, which that is, yeah,
it hurts.
It does, and I know they're not doing it to be unkind. It's the situation that hurts, and that's what I resent. And resentment is a big one for me.
I do resent having 12 cats. They do each other out of house and home.
Oh, we used to have 12. We're down to 4 now.
My goodness, they cost us money, and you know, that alone thing. I just want to, you know, to be able to have the money at least to pay for their food as well as ours. So, anybody else want to add anything into the resentment before we release it? Okay, so as well, if you know, if resentment for you isn't coming up about money, if there's anything else of resentment that's been within your life, you can also obviously release it from that as well. If you're feeling any resentment anywhere, or just set the intention for releasing for the collective. So again, that's what we have done. To close our eyes, that's it, and just did we do this? Feeling into resentment? No, we didn't. So close your eyes once again and just bring in that resentment into your body. And then feel into it and see if it does bring up any memories, emotions, feelings. And once again, whenever you're ready to share if anything came up. Does anybody have anything to add about resentment? Nothing more?
No, but it can get out because I've had enough of that. Thank you.
I just realised how much I resent myself in it. Really do. I think if it a lot of like, oh, I thought, my goodness, I really need to do some forgiveness work around this, because it's my kind of like, it's your own fault. So yeah, okay, let's get rid of this resentment. Get it gone once and for all. So once again, I release the emotion of resentment from myself and the collective. I just saw myself like kicking a ball out of the way. Gone. Be done with you.
Yeah.
How did that one feel, Lisa, to release?
Nice.
I mean, when you think emotions, because they're like obviously like balls of energy, and they can be anything from the size of like an orange or to a watermelon. So imagine these. I mean, we literally have hundreds and hundreds of trapped emotions within us. That these trapped emotions get trapped during moments where we haven't been able to express ourselves, or during trauma. And then we end up carrying them around like thinking chains to our ankles. No wonder they kind of slow us down and block us and stop us from moving forward, because they really are like these heavy weights. So frustration, resentment, not worthy. Oh, not worthy. Is this about not worthy of no, what we'll do, we'll feel into it first and we'll see what comes up and we'll talk after. So we're going to close our eyes, bring in the feeling of not worthy. And this may show up in many, many ways. So just allow this unworthiness to fill your body. And just to see, feel, even hear how unworthiness sits with you. Oh, that was quite emotional for me. It just stuck in my head. I saw other lives that I know that I've had, but one of them was like that I know that I've had in some castle, some medieval castle, of being quite high up, and hearing myself saying, "I vow never to have money again," because of the problems it causes, and there's obviously something that happened. So I obviously made a vow to myself not to have the money. So that was oof. That's one to work on. Anybody else? Anything come up for us at unworthiness?
I was shopping the other day. This is just a bit of an anecdote where I think I've actually learned a lesson, because coming up to Christmas, I've decided I'm now going to buy my own Christmas present from my husband and actually get something that I want and that I like. So I was shopping for a bra the other day, and instead of looking at the cheapest ones, I looked at the ones I actually liked and wanted. And then I looked at the matching knickers to go with them, and I never buy matching underwear because I always used to think I'm not worthy of having those, because to have the matching set is quite expensive. And the other day I thought, no, damn it, I'm having it because I am worthy and I deserve this, and I work hard. I'm a mother of 3, and I've had a life working for the people, and now it's my time and I'm having it. So I did, and I bought 3.
It is, and there's something about that, I think, matching underwear, because whatever you're showing on the outside, within, when you're wearing it, it's like, wow, I've got matching underwear on, and it is does feel really luxurious.
Yeah. So
yeah, but you got to do it once, especially buy 3 pairs of knickers.
Well, it was Black Friday. They were on offer, and I thought, damn it, I'm having them. I don't care. But it's nice to feel like that, instead of having to have that internal conversation with yourself. Do I deserve this? It's not about deserving it. It's about just accepting that, we are who we are, and money is an energetic exchange. It's not really a value at all, because what somebody perceives as the price of something is not the same as another person's perception. They could think it's worthless. So it's really absolutely null and void. And once we get over that, it becomes a lot easier to accept that actually we are worthy, because there's no value. There really is no value whatsoever to anything. It's just energy. It's taken me a long time to get to that point, a long time to understand it as well. I mean, I sell things, and what one person perceives is very expensive, another person will go, do you know what? It's nothing to me. It's absolutely nothing. So once we overcome that value perception, being worthy doesn't really even come into it, because it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing at all. Really meaningless.
So true. So true. It's like that classic thing of, I can't remember I think somebody made a ring and they took it to one shop, and it was like quite a cheap shop. It never sold. Put the same ring into a really expensive shop and it sold. And it's just because of where it is, yeah. It is. It's all very subjective. Anything else about unworthiness that's come to anybody?
I feel like the reason that I like to money slips through my fingers is because I'm trying to give it to other people, because I don't feel worthy of keeping it myself. Things may have been given to me and I maybe felt like I didn't deserve it, so I want to give that to other people. But that's what really came up for me, is that during the times that I've felt unworthy, I want to give that to other people to make myself feel more worthy by giving it away. And if I hold on to it and invest it or do other things that perhaps I could give more people in the long run, instead of giving it away so quickly, making smarter investments with the money so it's more long-term to benefit others in a different way.
There was a boot camp that I went on once, and the woman said basically money likes to have a place. It likes to know what it's being done with. And if you're receiving money and it's not got a particular use, it will just go. It's like go on to the next person, because it's like, I've got nothing to do here. He said you really have to give it reasons for being, and like placing it and putting in certain places, so that when that money comes in, it's got a use. And that the same thing as well about having, treating money as a friend. Would you actually, or come into my house and go out again, or, just not giving it anything to do when it comes to visit you, and how you look at it. Like Angela, you were saying, like, I hate money. Do you hate your best friend? Who can actually, how you treat money, treat it like it is your friend.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Anything else about being unworthy to receive? Let's let this one go then. Okay, so once again, releasing unworthiness, that I'm unworthy to receive. I also release the vow and the connections to the vow that I will never have money. Everybody okay? How's everybody feeling so far?
Cold.
Ah,
Yeah, cold.
you're okay, Lisa? Okay. Afraid to be seen. My goodness, Angela, this is such a huge one. Oh, wow. Yeah. And I think again, this goes back to, you know, the old things of witches, whatever, being women, of, you know, not being seen, that it's dangerous to have your head above the water. And that's been a massive thing, knowing that if you have money, then people can see you, especially, you know, like the system and the government, all the rest, you know, if you've got a lot of money, they can see you. Your head below the radar.
Yep.
Does this mean anything to anybody as well about being afraid to be seen?
No.
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 But interesting, it's only about the money. It's not about any other place. You know, it's not about being, you know, on camera or anything else. But there is this thing about keep your head under the radar. Probably
No,
just you.
have
No,
no problem with that whatsoever.
brilliant. Okay, so anyway, we're going to once again put our hands on our heart and bringing in it this afraid not to be seen. And it's not to be seen just by your friends and family. This is really the deep-seated emotion of being in a higher place, of being, of having a lot of money. Imagine this, if it's a hard emotion to connect with, imagine winning the lottery and suddenly having a lot of money and how those people around you might feel and how you might feel in regards to other people.
Bingo.
What came up for you, Angela?
um one of the things, like I said, whenever I've had like my dad's inheritance a couple of years ago and things like that, we end up donating some to charity, but giving it away basically, or spending it on other people. Because I think I've realized that when I feel abundant, and it is a lot to do with money, but not just money. When I feel abundant, I like to share that. And I keep being told not to be a show off. And I just thought, that's all my life I've been told not to be a show off. And that's, I think that's where I don't want to be seen, because I don't want to be told. I've never shown off in my life. Do you know what I mean? But I was always told it a lot, and I think it's going to make me cry. And I think that's where the not being seen bit has come from. That, and also if I'm not seen, and if I haven't got it, it can't be taken away from me.
Yeah. I feel that too.
Being branded a show off just because you want to share your good fortune with other people, that hurts. That really does hurt.
It's like you're flaunting it around.
which is not the intention at all. Which I think is why I subconsciously must keep myself from having it.
Yeah. Causes less problems.
Mm.
Anybody else? Did anything else come up for anybody? Okay, so we're going to release again. And, you know, even if these emotions don't connect to you, they will connect in some way, because obviously we're all connected. So even if you're releasing it, it's going to be releasing collectively. So releasing the emotion of being afraid to be seen. That what emotion? It just feels like that having money is troublesome. Ooh. Being a kept woman. So we're going to close our eyes into this one. And bring in the emotion of being a kept woman. And if the emotion is difficult to feel, maybe an image will work. About the old Victorian times when, you know, the woman just had to sit and be quiet and do her thing while the man was out bringing in the money. Of not having that freedom, that independence. Some of these emotions run deep. Oof.
I'm really feeling this in the pit of my stomach and in my throat. And there's really a power imbalance coming up for me about being reliant on somebody else, that if something was to happen to that person, where would that leave me and my children? You know, we would be left with nothing. I don't want to ever be in that situation. Whereas if my husband was to divorce me, or to, heaven forbid, die, or something was to happen that he couldn't be here, or couldn't just earn money, where would that leave us? And I really don't like that vulnerability that leaves me in. And I want to ever be in that position. Whereas if I needed to leave here with my children, or needed to go somewhere, that I would at least have the money in the bank to afford a flight back to the UK, or to be able to afford the next 6 months' food and the energy bills and things like that. So for me, it's a case of survival, that I want to have an abundance of money that I have access to that isn't related to him. And I shouldn't really be thinking like that, because we're a team and we've been married for 20 years. And he's a provider, but because he is a provider, that's made me feel like there's a power imbalance. And I'm not the kind of person to want to just rely on one person for that. I need to be self-sufficient as a mother. Really, I think it comes down to, I'm a mother, and this is like a survival thing for me, like an innate thing that says I have to have the money there at the click of a finger should I need it.
Totally. And, you know, as you said, you've been together for 20 years. Why did these thoughts come up? Again, this can also be past life scenarios. It can be where you've been in that situation. That's what kind of tends to come up in sessions as well. That you begin to see a cycle where we see emotions come up, and I get images coming up of past lives or whatever, and you begin to see that the whole cycle, that maybe this was because it really did happen of life that you were left alone and you don't want it to be happening now. And I think for women as well, you know, if you look at the ancestral inheritance that we've got as well, that so many women in the past were, you know, that they didn't do anything. It was the men that went out to work. And I think right now, and this has been coming up so much in the emotion code sessions, is that it stops with us. That everything that we're releasing today and everything that we're going through in our lives to release all these blocks is because all our ancestors have been going through that, and it's time that we have to release it before we can really move on into this transforming world. That we have to let go of this baggage. And I think being a kept woman and being a dependent woman is something that's played all the way back in time, so far back. And it's time that we have this freedom. We, you know, like you said, you have the choice. If something happens, that you just have that security, being able to get on the plane and go. Oh, anybody else? Mary Lou, did anything?
Yes, when I was feeling into it, it was such a weight on my shoulders, and in the back of my back there were the angel wings are attached. It was so heavy, and I was listening to Lisa, and what if something would happen? My husband arranged everything that if something would happen to him, I can still live here and but it's more when the children were little, when we got married, we worked together, and then the children came, and it was a 200% decision. I stay at home because I didn't get children to bring them to kindergarten or whatever. So when they were little, I didn't have that feeling. Not totally not. I raised the kids and you go out to work. But then when my youngest became around 10, I had something, okay, then he's going to the other school, and then I'm at home all day. I can do so much more. So I started the course for 4 years to be to study psychology. But I did that in 2011, but my practice never bloomed. Never. I did have some clients, but it didn't go to the roof. And I talk about this a lot with my son, and he always tells me, but we talk about being frustrated, and then I say, I'm frustrated. I don't bring something to the world that's important. And then he says, but you did such a great job raising the two of us, and we had the security and all that stuff. And he said, that's so important. And for me, it seems that has to be something more right now. And that's what the frustration for me is.
Mary Lou, can I just ask you,
Yeah.
have you thought of putting yourself out there to do it now instead?
Yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it every day. I work with the doTERRA oils, and I give massages, and I do have clients, but it's not a lot. And I have to be honest, I don't want to work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I don't, because I've given a lot away for the last 30, 40 years. And you said somewhere earlier, now it's my time.
Yeah.
And I really feel that it's my time now. Yeah. But I'm not sure how. I know I have a lot to bring, but perhaps it's not my time right now. I just don't know.
I think also society has undervalued motherhood so much that we now feel unfulfilled, that we're not enough, that we haven't, we've brought children up well or whatever, but motherhood's undervalued so much that we no longer feel a value and and unfulfilled, I think.
Yeah, but if I had to do it again, I would be a stay-at-home mom.
Me too.
Just as I did. So doing that, raising the kids, I didn't have those questions in my head. Yeah. I just don't know what it is, but now it feels I would like to do something back and do more. And actually it's crazy because Peter has to work 2.5 years and then he's retired, and then we even have more money than we have now. So sometimes I ask myself, don't make yourself crazy about it. But it's something inside that wants to come out, and one way or the other it stays in. I don't know why.
It's what was just coming to mind then was being a mother is what we this is it, kittens. This is King Arthur.
Gorgeous.
Got Arthur and Merlin. Yeah, being a mother, is what we're here for. It's our role, and that was looked upon as a good thing because we stayed at home and we did that. Doing our own thing, going out to work is, it's a bad thing. It meant that you probably didn't have the money, or it was looked down upon that a mother, leaving the home to go out and work. Which I think is why, Mary Lou, so many of us, we would do it all over again. It's almost valuable. We felt valued bringing up children.
Yes.
But doing it, doing our own work and being independent, well, it's an ancestral thing of being looked down upon. What do you think, Arthur? He loves his fusses. So, are we going to release this one?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Arthur's going to help us on this one, bringing the masculine. Okay, help. So, releasing being a kept woman. So I think we will finish with anxiety, because I think this is a big one that everybody can feel a bit of anxiety around money. And it's most likely to come up with many of us. So we're going to bring in that yucky feeling of anxiety around money, anxiety of not having enough, anxiety of having too much and being seen. You're going to bite? No.
Has anybody's ears gone very red and hot thinking about this one?
It's funny when you say things. I'm never actually aware of it until you start saying it. I feel probably warmth around the back of my neck.
Yeah, very. That's weird.
And if any anxiety come up for anybody?
I felt it very much in my root chakra.
Mm.
It came in from the heart and then really dropped. And it was heavy and a warm feeling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anxiety as well as the classic with the root chakra.
Mm.
The survival mode. Oh. Anybody else with anxiety?
We've got almost palpitations.
Okay. Let's release this anxiety, and especially for you, Lisa. I know this is a big one.
It's just making me really hot. It's absolutely boiling. My ear feels like it's
really cold.
Yeah, the other one made me cold. This was really, really hot. Probably having a hot flush and not realise.
Let it go, let it go. Let that anxiety go.
Ooh.
Still the heat coming up.
Mm. Oof.
Yeah, it's cooling down. Oh, no, not really.
How's everybody feeling?
Okay.
Oh.
You okay, loser? So we've run just a little
Thank
bit
you,
over
darling.
time. How's everybody felt during this? And what was your thoughts? You can unmute and speak.
I think the anxiety part was really helpful for me. In my marriage, that seems to be the thing we argue most about is money, whether we're going to save it, spend it, what we're going to spend it on, if we're going to splurge here or there. And so I would say probably money issues are the main thing that we worry about or argue about in the relationship. So that was really helpful, just letting it go.
Brilliant. Wonderful. And for you, Lisa, having first experience with emotion.
I've got some acid coming up right now, so something's definitely releasing. Just trying to get rid of the acid right now. Yeah, it's I don't normally do the thing. So what is this working with your chakra system, or because I normally just pull it out for wherever I feel it, but yeah, what
it
does
works if you think there's like this governing meridian that goes all the way down the back, across your head and down the back of your spine. It's basically like sucking in the emotion to release it out. With emotion code, we can actually go into each of the chakras and see if there are any emotions that are blocking a chakra. So we work on it that way, but in general, it's on releasing trapped emotions in the general energy field.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I will tend to say hands become magnets and then just pull it out. But yeah, I will try doing this way in future, see if that has any.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me go red. I think it's I don't know whether I prefer hot or cold right now. Putting my shawl on, shivering 1 minute, and I'm like, get off.
How's everybody else feeling?
Okay.
I think it's also a good thing as well, just talking about the money and being with like-minded people who have got similar issues coming up. And I know I should be running this again because I think money issues is always a problem, for everybody, whether it's too much, too little. What also got me that boot camp I was talking about is she was saying the fact that even people like with millions of pounds have major money problems, and it's never about the money at all. They're also afraid of losing it or having too much or not being able to control it. So, it's never about how much money you have. It's all the emotions around it. So I think it's time to go because we've run a little bit over. But thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Thank
as
you.
well. It's just been really lovely to share this moment with you and to see Loser for the first time, you know, face to face, and you as well, Lisa. Absolute pleasure. And as well,
Even if it takes 40 minutes.
we got there, we heard and saw you for the first time. Zoom with your camera, you've done it.
I
Thank you very
think
much.
Oh,
I
thank
think-
you too.
I think energetically as well, this has been a good time to do it. I have a geomagnetic storm alert on my phone, and twice while we've been on our call, I've had a red alert, which means
Yeah.
that there's big geomagnetic storm happening. It was
Wow.
goes from green to yellow to amber to red, and it was amber earlier on, and we've just had 2 red ones while we've been on the call.
Wow.
Yes, lot is happening in the atmosphere at the moment.
Yeah,
And there's a full moon, isn't there?
is that Monday?
Tomorrow or
Is it tomorrow, Monday?
So
Yeah.
we're in a 3-day window. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect timing. Love it. Lovely. Thank you so
Gives
much
me
for being here,
goosebumps.
everybody.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.